The late and great Kongfronation / King Kong encounter at Universal Studios Florida and Universal Studios Hollywood. Even though the great ape has fallen on both coasts, his legacy and most importantly his attraction still lives on in the hearts of people who got to experience it for themselves or by giving it a second life online, such as the person who requested this video. If you want to request a topic for Top 5 Universal or Top 5 Disney, feel free to leave it in the comments below. So let's dive right into this topic of Kongfrontation as we start off the first ever episode of Top 5 Universal. When guests confronted Kong, it could have been a little intimidating, with this giant ape towering over destroyed New York City. As you got close to his massive jaws, in the air you might have smelled the horrifying scent of bananas. Warm air would have been blown into your face and gave off an odor of bananas. This gave Kong the nickname Banana Breath. Now, if a giant gorilla breathing warm banana smelling air doesn't scream fun at you, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, if it wasn't a fun detail, it was definitely an interesting one. The King Kong animatronic used in Florida's and Hollywood's version was absolutely massive, standing upwards to 39 feet tall. The mastermind behind this was Bob Gurr. Now, if you know the history of Disneyland, then you would know Bob Gurr designed some of the ride vehicles for some of Disney's earliest attractions, like the Utopia cars and the monorail. Pretty much, if it was built around the Walt Disney era of Disneyland, then he probably designed it. Of course, both animatronics are gone today. However, there is still a way to see a massive King Kong animatronic, and one that's even taller. If you ever wind up in Tunisia, as you do, stop by Carthage Land, and you'll be able to gaze at a 42-foot recreation of Kong, which might I add is the tallest animatronic in the entire world, which admittedly is pretty awesome. Universal Studios fans know that Kongfrontation was taken out so its show building could be used to house the Revenge of the Mummy roller coaster. Since it is a repurposed building, they didn't really change the structure of the actual building itself. So it might surprise you to hear that the Kongfrontation's track is still inside the building. Because it was physically built into the roof, to remove it would be really difficult and expensive. And because the mummy takes place in the dark, it was just easier to leave it up there. And it is pretty cool that a giant piece of theme park history was quite literally over your heads the whole time. Kongfrontation's show building was repurposed for the Revenge of the Mummy, but why did they close the original in Hollywood? Well, it didn't really close in the traditional sense, as in the early morning of June 1st, 2008, flames broke out at the Universal Studios backlot, destroying many buildings in its path. But when the flames were extinguished, the King Kong encounter was completely gone. All that remained were the fire-stained walls of Kong's show building. This fire would not mark the end of Kong at Universal Studios. We'll get to that in a little bit. After the King Kong encounter burned down, Universal soon announced they would not be rebuilding the attraction, but instead an all-new 3D attraction would take its place. King Kong 360 3D opened on July 1st, 2010. And to be honest, it's not that great. The one word I would use to describe it is uninspired, which is kinda sad, knowing the original had so much more personality, and King Kong 360 3D, it's just a screen. It also doesn't help that Fast and the Furious Supercharged is also on the backlot, which uses the same exact technology as King Kong 360 3D, which makes it feel even more redundant. They did bring a similar attraction to Orlando, which is slightly longer, and it does have a giant King Kong animatronic. It's nowhere near the size of the original, but it's a King Kong animatronic back at a Universal park, and I'm not complaining about that. So that was just a little look at Kongfrontation. And on that note, we wrap up the first ever episode of Top 5 Universal. I hope you all are enjoying the sister series to Top 5 Disney, but in the meantime, thank you for watching.